The premium hatchback segment in the country has held its own despite the onslaught of SUVs of all shapes, sizes and at different price points. And leading the charge for the segment has been the Maruti Suzuki Baleno. Over the years, timely updates have helped Baleno retain the crown, but the 2022 Baleno promises massive changes to its styling on the outside, its feature list, as well as a few tweaks in terms of mechanical dynamics. So how does the Maruti Suzuki Baleno now hold up on its own, in its segment and against its rivals? I'm Shubhadeep, this is HT Auto and we're here in Goa to find the answer to just that. Stay tuned. The Baleno is offered in 4 broad trims, so you get the car in Sigma, Delta, Zeta and Alpha. Additionally, you also get the car in 6 color options, which are white, silver, grey, red, beige and the Nexa blue that you see right here. The Baleno to me was always a smart looking hatchback, but the latest Baleno is perhaps the smartest ever. Now that's primarily thanks to a lot of updates on the face, dominated by this front grille in honeycomb pattern. It's a lot wider than before and is now underlined by this skid plate here. Flanking it on either side are LED projector headlights and new DRLs in a 3-element structure. The bonnet and the bumper have also been redesigned. Now over at the side there are a whole lot of changes as well, dominated by the 16-inch wheels which get the alloys in a fresh new design. While the window size remains the same, the chrome lining under it runs all the way to the rear quarter glass. Now dimensionally nothing much changes, so the latest Baleno is the same in terms of length, breadth, the width and the ground clearance. But step back and the Baleno now gets new C-shaped LED taillights, a redesigned rear bumper. But first time ever for me in a Maruti Suzuki car, I'm most interested in checking out the feature list, as I think even you are. So come, let's take a look at what this car has on the inside. Now there is just so much to talk about in the front seat of the new Baleno, starting with the layout of the dash. It's a completely new design. In the top end you get a 3-pattern layout, so on top you have the black dash, just underneath that is the silver finish, the dark grey finish rather, and then you have the dark blue finish which extends from the dash to the side doors as well. Now you get this really nice 9-inch infotainment screen. It's bright, it's vivid, it's very easy to use, and it's of course a touch screen. And while there are a whole lot of things to show here, and before we get into a deep dive of the tech updates, let me just take you through the other highlights of the car. Now you get the nicely compact AC vents in the middle and on the side as well. You get the conventional controls for the air conditioning. The center console is also pretty conventional in terms of its design. Gets a 12-volt charging socket and a conventional USB point for charging smartphones. There are storage spaces for your smartphones and 2 cup holders right here. This one is the manual transmission unit, so you get the gearbox here. The handbrake, well, that's really conventional, and a really small storage space under the central armrest. There are storage spaces on the side doors as well that are adequate for bottles for about a liter, and again a conventional dashboard glove box space. But moving beyond what's conventional and returning to the infotainment screen, it supports Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and now also supports Alexa. It puts out information about fuel economy, the range. Really the navigation too is large and vivid, quite bright, and negates glare, and in fact also negates fingerprints, which is great. What's not ideal though is that the driver display continues to be semi-digital, and while it is large, I would have preferred, much like what the rivals are offering in some of their premium hatchbacks, an all-digital display right here. But Maruti has an ace up its sleeves because the Baleno now gets an HUD screen. Unlike what we know about HUDs conventionally, the screen information is projected on the windshield, but in the Baleno, it's a screen that pops out from the dash every time you start the car and puts out information like the speed, your mileage, the time, or even puts out the door ajar warnings showing you exactly which door of the car may be open. Now you can position it on a number of scales to your eyesight and comfort level. The control button for the HUD is located on the right side of the steering wheel, and you can easily access it to make the changes that you so desire. Just underneath that is the control button for the 360-degree camera, which again is an absolute new addition to the Baleno. I've been tinkering around with the 360-degree camera, and frankly it's a really good safety feature to have because it shows you a complete 360-degree view of the car's surrounding, and in fact also beeps a warning message just in case there's someone behind or in front of the vehicle and away from your eyesight or notice. So on that count too, the Baleno scores a perfect 10 on 10. Now the Baleno also now gets the Suzuki Connect app, so you can interact with the device on the screen either through your phone app and use it to access features like limit top speed, check driving behavior, even lock the car remotely, or you can also interact with the infotainment screen via voice. So for example, "Hi Suzuki."
Hi, what can I do for you?
"Open driving range."
Taking you to fuel economy screen.
And really you can use it for controlling features like the FM, playing music, and a whole lot more as well. Now it's great that Maruti Suzuki has added all these really nice tech-based features which frankly are not gimmicky, but in fact enhance the convenience and safety quotient of the Baleno. Apart from that, the new steering wheel is the one other highlight. It's a familiar sight for somebody who's purchased the new Swift, but apart from that, it is brand new and I really like the design. It's got mounted controls for various functionalities, and there is definitely a lot to look forward to inside the cabin of the Baleno if you're interested in having a car that's loaded with features. There's not much update on offer for the passengers at the back, but the passengers can still look forward to good amount of knee room, leg space, space for the feet, and a decent amount of headroom as well. The Baleno gets rear AC vents and 2 conventional USB type ports to charge smartphones with. Just in case you're wondering, there is no central armrest, and Maruti Suzuki is not offering a sunroof in the Baleno still. Well, as interesting as the feature list on the Baleno is, really it's time to take the car on the move. So let's find out what this car is capable of doing, what it does perhaps best, the drive. Now under the hood of the new Baleno is the 1.2 litre VVT petrol engine. There is of course no diesel option available. Maruti bid farewell to that road quite some time ago. But this 1.2 petrol engine comes mated with a 5-speed manual transmission unit that is standard across all the 4 trims, and that's the one I'm driving right now. Of course you also have the automatic transmission that is available, but that's only available on the top 3, so you don't get the automatic on the Sigma base variant. That said, the 5-speed manual transmission unit is near crisp, near precise, and well, there's a familiar feel about the gear. There is also a sense of familiarity with this 1.2 litre engine. It produces 90 HP and puts out 113 Newton meters of torque. The Baleno through its years has always been a very capable city commuter, and out on open roads it has a fair share of capability as well. Right now we're on clean open highway roads, and touching triple digit mark is fairly simple, fairly easy. The car remains nicely composed on turns. There is a light steering. Again, that's something that is very typically Maruti, so no surprises on that count. But straight line stability and as well as turns are fairly comfortable. So I really feel that while Baleno has always been a successful model within city limits, on open roads as well, it continues to have a decent youthful character around it. Now, while mostly things remain very familiar as far as the drive traits of the Baleno is concerned, one thing that does come out evidently is the change to the suspension setup. The Maruti Suzuki engineers have given the suspension setup a rejig, and to me at least it seems like it's a little bit more cushioned than in the preceding model. In less than perfect roads, as I am currently on, the cushioning is just a little bit more enhanced. I wish I had the preceding model to test on this particular road for just that particular bit, but I'll still stick my neck out and say that the suspension setup change has worked in favor of this particular model. Now, the good folks at Maruti say that the aerodynamics of the new Baleno has been improved. This, according to them, improves the fuel efficiency. By the way, since we are on the fuel efficiency numbers, the manual transmission returns, the claim is around 22.30 kilometers to each liter. The automatic transmission, and we will get to that particular model in just a bit, that offers a slightly more better fuel efficiency of around 22.90 kmpl. HUD is something that's not really unfamiliar to me. Of course, I've driven pricier cars and they have the authentic HUD setup, but even on this, it really is great that the Baleno is now getting that pop-up HUD display. It's so much easier and perhaps even so much safer to get all the information that I'm currently seeing. So I see the speed that I'm at, the instantaneous fuel consumption, as well as the time. Of course, I can change all of that to more display information as well. So really, I've spoken extensively about the HUD already, but once again, just to underline, it's a great feature to have when you're on the move. The Baleno never was really an eager climber, so you'll have to work the gears. If you are making a climb as I am right now, you'll have to downshift to get a move on, and when you do, there is that slight groan from under the hood that seeps into the cabin. Otherwise, that's mostly heard more because the NVH levels are otherwise under great control. But now we've swapped cars, we've given our manual transmission Baleno away, and we're now sitting inside the automatic transmission. Of course, if you take a look around the car, there is nothing that's different between the two, and even on the outside, what's different is the stick right here. Now remember, the previous edition of the Baleno was offered with the CVT as well, but CVT isn't there anymore on any of the Baleno models. Instead, what you get is the AT. How does that perform out on roads? Well, CVT is like the holy grail of Indian cars with automatic transmission, and if you've not experienced the CVT, well, you're gonna be fairly pleased with the transmission that is on offer on the Baleno. But for those who've experienced the CVT technology, well, there is a clear sense of longing for that particular model. That's primarily because while the Baleno in the AT handles itself reasonably well within city limits, and it's of course very convenient, there is that little grunt, that want for power that's missing. The numbers do tick along relatively well and fairly well after the 2000 RPM mark, but it's a bit of a struggle till that mark, and especially if you're once again on an uphill stretch. You will have to calculate better your overtaking moves if you're in the AT. Of course, there is the option of switching the lever to the manual and getting a move on, but overall, the level of refinement is something that I'm pretty satisfied with inside this car. Now, what is common between all the Balenos, regardless of what transmission choice you choose, are 14-inch front disc brakes, which add more stopping power to the vehicle. The latest Maruti Suzuki Baleno is also the most modern-looking Baleno ever. But perhaps most significant is that Maruti has finally put all its might in ensuring that the car is absolutely loaded to the brim with features, some of which, as I mentioned, are segment first. While I do miss not having that CVT option, the car starts at Rs 6.35 lakh ex-showroom, going up to Rs 9.50 lakh ex-showroom again. What do you make of the new Baleno? Do let us know. But in this episode, That's all the time we have. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay safe.